In this lecture, we're going to look at states and transitions. A state is a group of properties that can be applied to your element. For example, if you look at the scene here, this can be a summer state. The sun is this color, the sky is this color, the tree is this color, and the ground is this color. And when we change to spring, we have another set of properties that are grouped in a state that we call spring. I hope this makes sense. A state is a group of properties. A transition is how you go from one state to another fluidly. Okay, if you look, the changes are fluid. We are not jumping from color to color. There is some kind of fluidity in the way we change from one state to another. This is basically what we are going to look at in this lecture, and we are going to build a project like this to explore this. So we are going to start our project, file, new, application. It's a Qt Quick project. We call it States and Transitions Demo. Hit next, choose your Qt version, choose your kit, and we are done. We should say states and inside we are going to put our components. We need a sky, a ground, the trees, and the sun. We are going to start by putting in a rectangle. ID is going to be container. It is going to fill the parent. We are going to put in our sky. Let's align things correctly. Control A, Control I. It really is nothing fancy. It's just a rectangle with an ID, a width, a height, and a color. We put in our ground. Control A, Control I to align. Our ground is also the same, but it is anchored to the bottom of the sky, and it stretches up to the bottom of the window. It has a width the same as the parent, and it has this color. Next, we want to put in our tree, or trees really, because we are going to implement this as two trees, and depending on the state we are in, we are going to hide one and show the other. We have a spring tree and a summer tree, and we should add them in our resource files. So we are going to add new Qt resource file. We call this resource as usual. We are going to go where this thing is stored, show in Explorer. Okay, our folder is here. We want to create an images folder. Open it and put in our images. You see that there are two images. One is for spring, the other is for summer. You can use these images in your project, no problem. We're going to come back to our project here. We're going to add a prefix. We take it out, hit enter. We add files, and we select our folder and select our images. We save this, and our images should now be recognizable. The last component is the sun, so we should put it in here. Control A, Control I to align. It has a width and height of 100. It is at this position by default. So it is in the right side of the canvas, and it is on Y50. It is yellow. It is a circle. That's why we made the radius very big. Right now we can run our application and see how it looks. We haven't applied any states, so it should look like this. You see that we are seeing the summer tree. Why is that? We are seeing the summer tree because we put it last, and it is being stacked on top of the spring tree. So what we want to do is to define our states. So the way you define your states, you say states like this, and you put in an array that is going to be your states. Okay, inside you can say state, and it's going to be your state here, and you're going to separate them by a comma like this. And say state again. We want to have two states, so we put in two here, summer and spring. So we should give them names like this, so we can give your state a name. The first one is going to be summer. The second one is going to be spring. And we should specify how our set of properties are going to change to go in this state. For that, we use a property change component. Property changes. The target is going to be the sky. We are going to start by the sky. And the color is going to change to deep sky blue. Now, in summer, the sky should be light blue. The summer tree should be visible and the spring tree should be invisible. So we make the opacity for the summer tree 1 and the opacity for the spring tree 0. This is how we show one and hide the other. This is a trick you should learn. It comes in handy many times. The ground is going to change to be dark khaki and the sun should turn yellow. Control A, Control I to align. So we have our properties in place for the summer state. We should also do the spring state. In spring, the sky should turn deep sky blue. We should hide the summer tree and show the spring tree, which is what we have here. Control A, Control I to align so that things are visible. The summer tree opacity is 0, so it is invisible. The spring tree opacity is 1, so it is visible. The ground should turn to this color, lime, and the sun should turn light yellow. Control A, Control I to align. And this is how the sun is going to look. And we want to start in the summer state. Okay, so we should come here and say state, summer. And right now we have our state defined. We set our default state. We should run to see what our application looks like. Okay, you see that we start in summer. The ground looks like this. We have a summer tree and the sun looks like this. Let's go back to our application and change to spring. Run the application. And you see that we turn the colors to look like in spring. Now we want to automate the changes from one state to another. We are going to put in a mouse area that is going to fill the container rectangle. Let's go to its bottom right here, put in a mouse area, anchors, fill parent, unclicked. And we are going to say container state. The state of the container rect is going to be equal to the expression that we are going to put in here. So if this state equals spring, we are going to set the state to summer. Otherwise, we are going to set that to spring. This is what this expression says here. And if this doesn't make sense, you should check your ternary operation knowledge by some JavaScript tutorial. It is really easy. We are saying if the state equals spring, set the state here to summer. If it is not equal to spring, set this to spring. Let's run the application. And we should be able to toggle between states. And you see that the changes are really crisp. We are jumping from one state to another, and it should really help if we could make the changes fluid when we go from one state to another. And that's when transitions come in. Transitions allow you to make the changes in states fluid. Let me show you what I mean. I'm going to go back to our application and put in a transition. The syntax really looks like the states. So we're going to say transitions here and states on top here. Let's go back to transitions and say transitions. You see that we have a property of transitions down here and put in an array like this. Inside, we want to put a set of transitions. We want to go from summer to spring. The color changes are going to be animated. Okay. Okay, because we are changing colors a lot, we're going to put in a duration of 500, for example. And we should say number animation also. The property that is going to change is opacity. The duration is also going to be 500. Okay, from summer to spring, we are going to animate like this. If we run the application, okay, we are in spring. If we go to summer, you see that the change is crisp. It's very fast. There is no animation. But if we go from summer to spring, you see that it is animated. Okay, this is how you can animate from one state to another. We also want to animate from spring to summer. We should basically say the same thing. Put in a transition. We're going to copy this transition. Put a comma here to separate them and put another one. This one is going to be from spring to summer. And it basically is going to be the same thing. Okay, our changes are animated now from one state to another. This is how you do it. So if you don't want to separate these things, if the animations are the same, no matter your direction, no matter if you are going from summer to spring or spring to summer, we can actually comment this out. Let's comment this out and show you another way you can do this that is easier and more readable. If you want to do the exact same thing like this, we can say transitions and pass in one transition and say from any state to any state, we are going to do these animations. Color animation and number animation. We should put in our columns here and put a semicolon in here to make things pass the syntax check. And we are going to put in our usual animation here. Color animation and number animation on opacity. This is how you can pass transitions to your animation. It is going to work the same, but now we have one transition that is targeting everything from any state to any state. And this is really all there is to working with states and transitions. A state is a set of properties, and you can pass from one state to another, just like we did here, just by setting the state. The default state for our case here was spring, and we are able to switch between spring and summer. And this is how you specify the properties for your state. And these are the different syntaxes that you can use to pass from one state to another with an animation specified within your transition component here. This is all for this lecture. In the next one, we're going to show you how you can work with gradients in your state and transitions. I'll see you there.